Today, we remember and pray to St. Pius of Pietrelcina, better known around the world as Padre Pio, an Italian Capuchin priest with a tremendous reputation for his holiness of life. Padre Pio was born to a family of poor farmers, and from a young age, he knew that he wanted to become a Capuchin. But to make this possible, his father had to travel to America to earn the money that would allow this future saint to prepare for vocation as a religious priest. In 1903, he was able to enter the Capuchin order, and 7 years later was ordained a Catholic priest. But from 1918 until his death, Padre Pio bore the wounds, the sign, the visible sign of Christ on his hands, known as the stigmata. He didn't wish to receive attention for this, and he prayed that his hands would heal. But in time, he finally accepted their presence as the will of God. Padre Pio suffered not only physical pain from these wounds in his hand, but he also suffered suspicion and false accusations as the result of the stigmata. And he would say of it, "It is under the cross that one learns love." I read a wonderful reflection by Padre Pio that was titled "Light from Jesus," in which he says, "Do not fear, Jesus is with you." These words weren't just wishful thinking from a priest who was walled off from the world, who didn't experience the crosses of life, but quite the opposite. He continues by saying, "You are right to complain at finding yourself more often than not in the darkness. You seek your God, you sigh for him, you call to him, and cannot always find him. But I repeat, do not fear. Jesus is with you, and you are with him. In the darkness, in times of tribulation, in spiritual anxiety, it is Jesus who is with you." He goes on to say that though you are in darkness, the light of the Lord invades and surrounds your entire spirit. You see in yourself the state of abandonment, but I assure you that Jesus holds you more tightly than ever to his divine heart. This great saint of holiness and spiritual guidance acknowledges what we know, the trials of human life. The trials that we find as we faithfully try to follow Jesus in this life. And he concludes by saying, by all means, complain to Jesus as you like. Pray to him as you wish, but adhere firmly to the words of him who speaks to you in the name of God, as Padre Pio did his whole priestly life. My brothers and sisters, for everyone who wonders how they can face spiritual battles with things like temptations and addictions, from things like doubts and scrupulosity, those who face gossip and false accusations or anything, this holy man speaks to the reality of these trials, but at the same time, he offers the hope found in the fidelity to Jesus, the fidelity that Jesus promises when he says, "I am with the troubled soul." In his life, St. Padre Pio received the Word of God, a lamp that lit his way through the ups and downs of life. And now, he brightly shines this light of Jesus for our families and for us, to give us hope and to give us a path that we can follow, lit with the way of God's will. No matter how hard things may seem in our lives right now, what Padre Pio reminds us is, if we have Jesus, we will find the way. May God bless you and your families this holy day, and remember the words of St. Padre Pio. Do not fear, for Jesus is with you.